You know, producer John Miller came over to my office, saw this sitting on my desk. It's an old Christmas card. And we both read, it's from Jackie. And it says, "Thank you, Doug, you saved my life." Why do we do what we do? This is so important. It's important to you, it's important to us to get the word out because you aren't going to find this information anywhere else. Are antidepressants antifungals? What role does fungus play in a bad disease called cystic fibrosis? We're going to learn that today. We sat down with a friend of mine, Daniel from GuiltlessGoodies.com, and talked about his growth and what he's doing. And then, of course, we drop into the kitchen with Abby. All that and a whole lot more on today's important Know the Cause. My name is Doug Kaufmann. For the past 40 years, I've dedicated my life and even my career to finding the root cause of disease. Join me in a team of physicians, pharmacists, and scientists, and soon you too will know the cause. Friends, thank you for joining me right now. I wanted to pull a book out right here, The Missing Diagnosis, written by Dr. Orion Truss. He's a physician. I've had this book many, many years. I never met the man. It's just one of these brilliant guys who understood mold, mildew, and fungus. The book says on the cover, "They may say you're neurotic, but do you experience depression, anxiety, irrational irritability, bloating, diarrhea, constipation, heartburn, indigestion, loss of self-confidence, yada, yada, yada. Inability to cope, lethargy, symptoms from contact with foods, chemical odors, acne, headaches. In women, urethritis, cystitis, repeated yeast infections, premenstrual tension, menstrual problems. In kids, hyperactivity," and it just goes on and on. I loved this when I saw it. I bought this 95 cents in half-price books. The book is amazing. It opens with, "They may say you're neurotic, but do you experience depression?" The numbers are staggering how doctors have gotten us on antidepressants. I could, someday I'd like one of those little cameras and just walk into 5 doctors' offices and sit there and go, "Yeah, I really feel bad." I would go out with 5 antidepressants. The side effects of these drugs, be careful. If mania, if walking into a bank with a gun is a side effect of some of these drugs, then I'm worried, folks. I listen all the time to the media. When someone walks into some place and shoots it up, my first question always is, which antidepressant did they begin on? I mean, that's just the way I think. I'm sorry. So depression, is there a fungal component to depression? This is interesting because years ago I first brought you this information. And now I want to get just a couple of graphics here I want to go over with you. But as I review some of these older, asthma and joint pain, arthritis, and the fungal link, we were right decades ago. Science is just now catching up. Folks, it's really exciting. You saw the thing on the news the other day that gut fungi can actually break the blood-brain barrier and induce memory loss. Do you think if it gets in the brain, it could induce depression? Of course. Okay, so let's go to these graphics. Can fungus cause depression? Remember, this is many years ago. In 2001, researchers tested 5 commonly used antidepressant drugs, these are called SSRIs, against Aspergillus, one of the worst fungi. Their findings were reported in the Journal of Antimicrobial Therapy. Okay, you got that? They're testing 5 commonly used antidepressants. It's what half of America is probably on. Their research findings. The 5 SSRIs tested, these are antidepressants in the study, displayed different potencies with respect to both antifungal killing and lag of fungal growth. So this is called fungistatin and fungicidal. Fungicidal is killing the fungus. It is probable that antifungal activity results from, and then I don't think they're right. Okay, it got an interaction with SSRIs and fungal transports, yada, yada, yada. This is medicine at their best. Want to know what I think is probable? It's not what they said. I think it's probable much of our depression is due to fungus. And since SSRIs like Prozac and Zoloft kill fungus, maybe that's why they work so well on people. Could it be? Folks, they're now bringing antifungal drugs on the market to treat cancer. Oh, and they have all the scientific words. Well, obviously cancer isn't a fungus. The reason this works is it interferes with the hedgehog pathway that cancer cells... Come on. Could the reason antifungals work, because cancer has a fungal component, could the reason Prozac works to help people with depression is because the etiology, the cause of their depression is fungus? Gee, I wonder if vitamin C, I wonder if resveratrol, I wonder if some of the B vitamins wouldn't be just as useful. Okay? Why do depressants work? Here's my take. Because poisons interfere with brain activity, poisons being mycotoxins. Aspergillus makes poisonous mycotoxins commonly found in our food supply and indoor air. These are slowly poisoning the brain. The antifungal properties that SSRIs possess stop the progression of these mycotoxins because it kills the fungus that makes them. I mean, is that really complex? If I'm a doctor, it's not only erroneous, but it's way, way complex. It's not how they work. It seems that fungal patterns are disrupted by these SSRIs. Nonsense. Is your fungus due? Is your depression due to fungus? How are you doing on your antidepressants? Pretty good, Doug. I really performed very well. I'm not here to tell you to throw away your antidepressants. I'm hoping, you know what I named this show? Know the cause. I'm hoping you now better understand why that Zoloft works so well for your social anxiety, or one thing or another. If this were the case, here's what I'd do. If it weren't severe, I'd find a doctor willing to let me experiment for a few weeks. I'd elevate my brain hormones naturally by exercising regularly. Sometimes drugs help you until you know the cause. I'd talk to my doctor about using the harmless supplements instead of drugs after I was stable. I'd starve fungus, fungal spread by following Kaufmann diet. It's a different perspective of the same problem. Some people take these drugs and don't notice any side effects. Thank God, some do. But what's the cause of your depression? If antidepressants that are SSRI help, it may be fungus. Okay? Folks, welcome and thank you for joining us. Joining me right now is a guy named Daniel Crouch. You've seen him on this show if you've watched for a period of time. His wife, Lindsay, was our chef cooking in the kitchen. Well, they went off and had another child. They have 3 boys and they're gorgeous. And Daniel, they all moved to Austin and a new place in Austin. And you have a center where you sell all your goodies. Guiltless Goodies is the name of their company. What started as flour tortillas and a bread and pizza crust and so forth. Look at this. It's grown. If you imbibe in a goodie from time to time, then you will love Guiltless donuts. This is Kaufmann friendly. Here's your seed mix. And I love this smoothie mix idea. Take me down the aisle here. Tell me what you guys have.
Well, it's all predicated on being Kaufmann. The flour is Kaufmann, the hero of what we're doing, and it's got to be high in fiber, essential fat, and protein, because that's what the human body needs, right? Everything else is just fluff. Cell phones, TVs are great, but they're a little bit fluffy. But the critical nature of it isn't the power of the seed. And so we have some, a Kaufmann one, which is our flour. If you want to bake at home, you can. We've got hundreds of recipes. We've also got a smoothie mix. Waffles and pancakes are amazing.
Yeah, with the right flour. This isn't grain.
Right, no grain free. And so, you can indulge, but yet feel, stick to the plan and remain, in the zone. Because who wants to deviate from that and go back to where we were in the past? Not me.
When you feel good. And that's what eating this way is all about. Was that Hank with a cookie in his...
yes, probably CBD, 2 cookies.
CBD cookie. What an interesting idea. No grains, right? But it's all made with seeds.
Amen.
I mean...
We live in a world, we live in a Prozac nation, right? And there's a lot of stressors, and your phone's going off, and there's lights, and 6,000 images hit you daily. And so wouldn't it be lovely if there was something that came from the earth that could help just kind of give you a little bit of an anti-anxiety? And we found that CBD does just that, and when we integrate it into an edible and it goes through your digestive tract, you can get 2 to 4 hours of happiness.
The boys. I picture your 3 kids, with these cookies. The donuts are fascinating. That's when you started to experiment a little bit with coconut palm sugar. What is coconut palm sugar? Is it like regular sugar?
It is not. It's an unrefined sugar, and it comes from the sap of the coconut tree. So it does have minerals and vitamins to it. It's 35 on the glycemic index, so not impeccable, like obviously a Kaufmann, sweetener would be, but it's sort of our close second to be able to go and grab people who are on the edge and we just want to kind of bring over and provide them with an alternative.
Daniel, you've taught me, and my own son, your friend, has taught me, kids aren't following the Kaufmann diet. Our grandkids, our kids come over, they want a goodie. And you can go to the store, and I have a friend I've been shopping for. Wow, what he eats. I can't understand why he's always in the doctor's office, but then I go buy his food. I can't pronounce things on donuts. I looked, when you guys were developing the donuts. So there's a middle of the road. If you want your grandkids or your kids to have food that isn't just white sugar, bleached flour, dead processed stuff, but you are in favor of the seeds that they use in all these products, or you want to make your own smoothies for them when they come over, or cook pancakes for them with not grains, but seeds, you're on the right track. The company is just poised for growth so beautifully. Congratulations on all you've done.
Thank you very much. Thank you for giving us the ability to go boldly and know that what we're doing is really making an impact, you know what I mean? Solving that problem of people who can't enjoy the baked goods that they used to because there's nothing out there to do that.
In the minute we have remaining, take me back to Daniel 15 years ago.
Oh, it's just so sick and emotionally, the ups and downs were the hardest part. You eat the grains and then you just want to crawl on the floor and take a 5-hour power nap. And that's not reasonable in our lifestyle. So, by getting off of that, the indentured servitude of, feeding the yeast and feeding the stomach, that isn't really my own, by getting rid of that and clearing it with the fiber and gaining my territory back, I feel, I have the keys to success and the keys to health now, and it feels good.
What is in a seed that would benefit us nutritionally?
Well, you've got, plant-based fat, fiber, and protein, the three things the body needs. And think about it, that seed is going to grow a plant that can give you a fruit. But why not go to the seed rather than enjoy the fruit?
Yeah, it just makes perfect sense. So, guiltlessgoodies.com. Kaufmann program, here you have it right here for the time being. Now, they're working on other Kaufmann-friendly foods. But if you feel like you've got to imbibe, really, this is a much safer alternative than going to a donut house or a grocery store. Priced competitively, absolutely tastes wonderfully. God bless you guys. Continued success.
Thank you. Amen.
I'll be right back with more. Friends, I've met several people with cystic fibrosis, CF, in my lifetime, and I think it's a fungal problem. But we're handing them antibiotics because tradition says we do, right? They get bacterial infections all the time and they become resistant to the antibacterials, antibiotics, etc. So let's study cystic fibrosis a little bit. This is going to require some reading, but I'll go over the topics with you. And I want to make a point because I want for you today to become the diagnostician, okay? Help me with this one. Patients with CF battle chronic lung infections that are notoriously resistant to antibiotic therapy. Why is that, folks? Could we be treating the wrong organism? Antibiotics encourage yeast growth. We think antibiotics is scorched earth, simply wiping an unknown portion of both healthy and hopefully the bad bacteria. But we actually have a poor understanding of what happens to the gut microbiota when people take antibiotics, both healthy people and those people with cystic fibrosis, says this doctor, reported an infectious disease. Folks, this is a biggie. Did he just say we really don't know what happens to the gut terrain when we put people on antibiotics? I do. Antibiotics are indiscriminate bacteria killers. They'll kill the bad guys, maybe causing the cystic fibrosis. If you can imagine, this is a this problem. And they'll kill the good guys that God put there and that are responsible for 70% of our immune system. And yet cystic fibrosis patients and others take antibiotics all their lives. Okay, let's keep going. What about fungus and cystic fibrosis? Candida albicans can be isolated from the respiratory cultures in up to 75% of patients with this disease, and the frequent use, I want you to see this, of antibiotics and steroids may predispose patients to colonization. They spelled it wrong. That worries me. Current fungal infection reports, colonization with Candida species. That's a big way of saying 3/4 of people who have cystic fibrosis, they're doing these cultures on them and they're looking for bacteria, but they're finding yeast. Yeast is a single cell fungus, okay? So yeast is fungus. That's not all. Candida yeast is just one of them. Cystic fibrosis patients and Aspergillus fungus. There's a species, a subspecies called fumigatus. So Aspergillus fumigatus is the main fungus culture in the airways of patients with CF. Registry data suggests that Aspergillus fumigatus is cultured in 10 to 25% of CF patients and is reportedly more frequently seen in adolescents and adults. Are you doing the math? Okay, let's do one more. This is called Cetosporium, and it produces serologically cetosporosis. Okay, in cystic fibrosis patients, this is a technology, this is a machine. Counter-immunoelectrophoresis was used to detect cetosporiosis serologically in the blood. Was positive 27 out of 128 patients with CF, European Journal of Clinical. All I'm reporting is this: Cetosporidium, Aspergillus, Candida, are you with me? All yeast, all fungus. And yet we're giving 100% of patients with cystic fibrosis antibiotics and then scratching our heads and wondering why are they becoming resistant to these antibiotics. The medical model says, oh, it's because we're giving them too many antibiotics, but we have to keep them alive. And my thinking is, wait a minute, are we treating the wrong germ? Are we putting these patients on antibiotics and they should be on antifungals? So let's you and I do the math together, okay? Antibiotics or antifungals, you be the doctor. First we'll do the math. Candida, up to 75% of these patients. Aspergillus, 10 to 15% of these patients. And Cetosporium, 21.1%. There's 300 species of fungi known to be human pathogens, cause disease in humans. 3 of these fungi are found in between 106% and 111% of cystic fibrosis patients. We just took 4 minutes, and I wish every pulmonologist in America would help me study this. I wish every pulmonologist in the world knew that. Folks, they're trained by doctors who are older, and those doctors learned you give all cystic fibrosis patients antibiotics. And who taught them? Teachers who were taught that you give all cystic fibrosis patients antibiotics. I just have to wonder, if cystic fibrosis patients would starve yeast with the Kaufmann 1 diet and would get on maybe antifungals rotationally, diflucan, sporanox, griseofulvin, instead of antibiotics, would they fare better? I just want to light the bulb over your head, all of you guys, as we continue learning more about the world of fungus and how detrimental it is to patients who are sick. I hope that helps. They were moist, they were tremendous. I had these just a few weeks ago when Abby cooked these. They're called sweet potato muffins on the Kaufmann 2 diet. This is your go-to food. Let's go over there right now.
Hi, I'm Abby, and today in my kitchen I'm going to show you how to make sweet potato Kaufmann 2 muffins. They're pretty easy to bake. They've got a lot of spices in it, so they taste really good. They're great to have on hand if you want to have like a really quick breakfast to go, or if you just want a little snack, like a pre-workout snack. These are really great to have on hand. So I'm going to show you how to make them. First things first, we're going to mix all of our wet ingredients. I've got a pre-cooked, about a medium-sized peeled sweet potato. It comes out to about a cup worth of sweet potato. I've got eggs, already beaten up. I've got some olive oil, full-fat coconut milk, and some honey. Okay, so get all that honey out. If you don't want to use honey, you can use the pure grade maple syrup if you want. It also works. It's the same ratio too, so. Get all that out, and we'll mix all this together. All right. Now, we're gonna set this off to the side, and we're gonna mix our dry ingredients together. I've got brown rice flour, coconut flour. This is the baking soda, baking powder, a little bit of salt, cinnamon, turmeric, cloves and nutmeg, and some ground ginger. It's gonna be nice and spicy. All right. Now we've got all this mixed in together. And we're just gonna start adding it to our wet mixture. Okay. And then you just blend it all together until you get a nice thick batter. Okay. Now this is nice and mixed. I've got some nice big chunks of sweet potato in there. All the spices are mixed up and ready to go. Now, we're gonna go ahead and put them in our muffin tin. This is pre-greased muffin tin. You can also use the little muffin liners if you want. And one thing you do wanna be sure about this is that they do puff up a lot. So, you're only gonna fill them up about 2/3 of the way full. Keep filling them in. And this will make about just a little over a dozen muffins. And again, these are great to pre-make and freeze, so you can keep eating them throughout the week for just a quick little snack, or for breakfast on the go, or dessert even if you want to. A little bit more in this one. All right, now I'm gonna throw these in the oven at 400 degrees for about 20 to 25 minutes. All right, it's been about 20 minutes. My muffins are out of the oven, they're on the cooling rack, and I am so ready to eat them. I mean, look at that. They have just enough spice so you can really feel it, but not like it's overpowering. You can get some good chunks of sweet potato in there. The sweet potato muffins are great. They're full of spices. They're great antifungals. They're great for your health. For more recipes like this, go to knowthecause.com.
What a day. How'd you like it? I mean, this is a great show and I get to host it. How great is that? Thank you for being with us today. Thank you for telling your friends about Know the Cause. Here's an image of the foods that Daniel was talking about, his super seed flour and the super seed smoothie mix. Man, that looks good. Just a scoop of yogurt in there. Wow. Could you make a juice in the morning with that? What do you think about these SSRIs, selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, having antifungal properties? And wasn't that fascinating that 3/4 of the people who are on lots of antibiotics for cystic fibrosis are showing candida inside their body? Just think. God bless you. I'll see you next time.